What's up, everybody? It's Otto coming to you live and direct from the grotto. This is the conclusion to my top 30 Raw books, my top 10, top 11. I don't know. I'm not counting these books anymore. We're counting down. Find out what book it is right after our intro and a message from our sponsors, Rocket Comics. So sit back and enjoy this ride. Here we go. So this book, I coveted as a kid. I read this book 100 times over. I have it in a 9.6. I bought a beautiful raw copy. Rocket Comics pressed it. It came back in 9.6. And for my X-Men, I have like a lot of doubles. More importantly, I have the raw, and I have probably a graded, or I have the graded. I probably have a couple raws. But I absolutely loved this book. Another first appearance. X-Men 109, the first appearance of Vindicator. Vindicator shows up. He tries to bring Wolverine back to Canada. Not happening, especially when he uses his ray or lasers. It bounces off Cyclops. It hits Moira McTaggart. Banshee goes nuts. This is actually when Banshee loses his sonic scream for a while. Vindicator realizes he can't beat the X-Men all by himself, so he leaves, and we all know what happens at 120 and 121. So, gobbled this book up as a kid. I absolutely loved it. You know, they called him Major Maple Leaf. I think that's the first time they referred to him as Logan in this, for all you purists out there. But look at that. Wanted Wolverine, dead or alive. Okay? Just a great book. Great book. Happy to have it, like I said. It's a book that I show off. So, there we go. Now, here we go. Yeah, this is number 10, and it should be number 10 because this is a book that I bought when I bought a collection of books. I wasn't collecting at this time, so I missed a whole run, but I ended up buying a collection of books, and it had first Cable, first Deadpool. It had this character in it. Don't know. This book has been sitting in a long box for so long. I might send it to Rocket, or I just might see what I can get out of it. But this is first X-Men 266. As you can see, I'm a mutant guy, right? We all know I'm a mutant guy for you guys that follow my channel. X-Men 266, first full appearance of Gambit. Storm's undercover, Remy LeBeau. They're in the Bayou. Who did this cover? This is a Andy Kubert cover. I think Dave Cochran was still writing. It gets a little fuzzy, there you go. But that's number 10, first appearance of Gambit. Nice, clean copy, though. I should have more of these, but I just pass them up because I knew I had this, but who knows. All right. Number 9. Now, this is where it gets good, you guys, because this is the bread and butter of my Raw books, and there's a lot of cool stuff, and this video is going to take a little bit longer because I do like to tell stories. All right. Now, when I was a kid, the Judas Contract was phenomenal, right? And for those of you guys who didn't know, the Judas Contract had ended in a Teen Titans annual. It was 4 parts. It wasn't 3, it was 4, okay? And this is the first appearance of Nightwing. This was my copy that I bought as a kid. This is book 3, and I did have this signed by Marv and George Perez. I wasn't CGC in my books at the time, so I did not get this signed, but this is part of my personal collection, part of my display, my Deathstroke display, one of my top 3 villains, if not my favorite villain. You know what? This has my top 2 favorite DC villains. My other one is Sinestro, okay? But just a beautiful book. It's nice. It's in this nice Mylar. I have no interest in sending this to CBCS for signature authorization because you know what? I was there when he signed it. I got the pictures. I know this book's not going to, help me with my retirement. It's just a book that I have for my collection, all right? I'm keeping going. Ooh, iconic book. Love this book. The beginning of the Dark Phoenix saga. Multiple first appearances. Classic John Byrne, X-Men number 129, my friends. Yes. Have this book at a 9.2 CGC. maybe try to upgrade it to a 9.4, definitely, 9.8, but, just multiple first appearances. Sebastian Shaw, Hellfire Club. Just love all those characters. Kitty Pryde, Wolverine's on the cover. Colossus is taken down. The Hellfire Goons, they actually get their ass kicked, but yeah, because they weren't ready for them. But just the beginning of the Dark Phoenix saga. So 129. This book's clean. It's got a couple color breaks in it. You could use a press, but I have no interest in selling it. Okay. Ooh, good book. Love this book. This is a first appearance of a villain who's very underrated. He's just out of his mind, and he was fantastic in The Death of Elektra. He showed a cameo in the Daredevil shows, and I don't think he actually I gotta rewatch it. I don't think he actually put the suit on, but this is the first appearance of Gladiator, Daredevil 118. Love this book. I might go after this book graded. But this is a nice copy too. Again, these are all, you know what? This has got a lot of fox. It's got some foxing on the top. And you know what? What was fun about doing this, when I was digging out all these books, I had to put them all in new Mylars because I'm not going to show you guys books that aren't, presenting well. But yeah, first appearance of Gladiator during the Death of Elektra saga in the hand. He was absolutely out of his mind. So just really cool character. And it tells you, there comes a Gladiator. How he got those blades to spin and come back, I don't know. But just a real cool character. Great, cool villain. Tries to redeem himself. Okay. Oh, sticking with Daredevil. I don't know why I don't have this book graded. I really should. This book was my book as a kid. It's got a huge color breaking crease in it. It's got some pen ink on it. But this is this is Daredevil 168, the first appearance of Elektra. And you guys can see that large color break. But I don't own this book graded. Maybe something I'll go after later on in the year when I'm done with the books that I want. But do I want this book at a 9.8? I'd love it at a 9.8, but I'll take it at a 9.2, if I can find it at a good price, but not a book that I'm actively searching on. And I think they did a good job with it. Listen, I thought Jennifer Garner did a great job, plus she's so hot, as Elektra Nachos, okay, as they like to say. All right, so we're going. We've got a few more to go. All right, this is my favorite X-Men cover ever. Okay, I have this in a 9.2. I've owned multiple copies of this. I read this book 100 times over as a kid. I've studied it. I've analyzed it. This is X-Men 102. Who shall stop the Juggernaut? Black Tom Cassidy, the Juggernaut. Storm is having flashbacks of when she was a kid. She's really claustrophobic. This is when Nightcrawler learns that he can hide in the shadows, and Colossus and the Juggernaut go at it, and pretty much Juggernaut takes them all down. But the castle falls, Black Tom Cassidy's there and stuff like that. So this is, if you were to ask Otto what his favorite X-Men cover is of all time, it's X-Men 102, okay? And I just love it, and I love the Juggernaut. It's just a great character. Just one of my favorites. One of my faves. And I thought they did a good job with him in Deadpool, to be honest with you. Not a great job, but what are you going to do? I mean, he's a giant guy wearing huge armor and he's unstoppable. So, all right, now we're going to keep going. Okay. My 1A favorite DC villain. This book, the cover does not do it justice, but let me tell you something. When I read this book, the action in this book is phenomenal. Once you get over the art, this book just isn't 2 or 3 pages of a battle. They go at it the entire book, and it's not just, the hero winning the villain. They go at it. This is Shazam 28, the first appearance of my favorite DC villain, Black Adam. And as you can see, they were definitely catering it to the Saturday morning cartoon kids. But it does say, the world's greatest villain returning. So this is, Black Adam coming back, the first appearance of the Silver, his reoccurrence. Just very, I don't want to say childlike, but it was just not adult orientated. But I'll tell you, the book itself is great. So if you have this book raw, dig it out, read it. It's action packed. It is Black Adam. I hope The Rock does him justice. I've done cosplay as Black Adam before when I started doing it. I'd love to do it again. But Black Adam and Sinestro are my 1 and 1A favorite villains in the DC universe. Okay. And I don't know why I don't have Sinestro in here. You know why I don't have? Because he's not on the cover, you guys. I bug out when the characters aren't on the first appearances aren't on the cover, So, yeah. Just like Grodd and the Pied Piper. Somebody messed that one up when they put the Pied Piper on and not Grodd. Okay. Now, here we go. This is a Raw Dog. This is a Spider-Man key. It's missing the pinup. It is. So I'm not going to have it graded. I'm also not going to go after it raw because I don't feel that I need to. This book was bought. I bought this from the original owner, and I absolutely love it. And I've shown this book off 100 times. I'm a Ditko purist. It's Amazing Spider-Man #3, the first appearance of Doc Ock. And it is a nice looking book, but the pinup is missing. So whether it comes back the grade or a purple label, I don't know from CGC. I'm not going to risk it. I know the book. I know who owned it before. And he cut it off and put it in his room. I know he did. He told me. He goes, you know what? Years have gone by. I forgot I might have. Oh, thanks, buddy. All right. Now, these are my top 2 favorite books in my collection. So, actually, I have 3 favorite DC villains. I do. Sinestro, Black Adam. Well, Sinestro would probably be 2. Black Adam would be 1A, and my favorite DC villain of all time is Deathstroke. This was my book that I bought as a kid. I paid $6 for this at a con in the 80s. It's $6. That's not a lot of money. $6 is a lot when you're a 12-year-old kid and you go to a Comic-Con all day with $25 in your pocket. And I did have Marv and George both sign it. And it's the first appearance of Deathstroke, the Terminator, the first and death of Ravager. I went through 7 or 8, not 7 or 8, that's an exaggeration. I went through 6 copies, having them pressed and graded to get to 9.8. And then finally, bam, Rocket Comics came through. So I do have a 9.8 of this, double signs. It was a 9.6. I want to preface that, and I've talked about this for a long time. It was a 9.6, but I sent it to Rocket. They cracked it. They pressed it. They had Marv and George both sign it, and it came back in 9.8. That's a win. And this is my own copy for my personal collection that I set up with my display. My absolute favorite DC villain. Okay, so here's my number 1. And you're going to say, why is that your number 1? It's an X-Men book, but it's not a significant key. It's a first appearance. And I'm going to do my best to build this up. And I'm going to try to do it justice when I take it out and tell you the story. So when you're a kid, you collect books, the comic shops. I used to go to a comic shop called The Bookie, right? The Bookie. So I tell my mom, can you bring me to The Bookie? My mom's friends would be like, what? What are you talking about? But it was a comic shop called The Bookie. I would spend all day there, and I would just ogle over the same books over and over again. And I remember when I was a kid, there was a kid in my neighborhood selling a collection of books. So I offered him $5 for this, and he sold it to me. Then I went and I met Dave Cockrum. I don't really remember too much because I was like 12 or 13 years old, and I remember him signing this, and he was a real nice guy, and I wish I knew more about it. So this past year at Terrificon, when I met Chris Claremont, I haven't even showed you the book. Okay, I'm sorry. It's X-Men number 96. First appearance of Moira McTaggart, however you want to call it. I think they did good in the X-Men First Class. But why this is important is that I stood in line as a kid, and I had Dave Cockrum sign the inside cover when I was a kid. And there it is. And then I had Chris Claremont sign it right next to him. And as I was there, I asked Chris about Dave Cockrum. He said Dave was absolutely brilliant. He could think of anything. I would come up with the craziest ideas, and Dave would put it on ink and in paper. So there it is, my one favorite Raw book in my collection, X-Men 96, signed by Dave Cockrum and Chris Claremont. This book will never be sold. I have no interest in sending it to CBCS because I was there as a kid. And it's just a beautiful book. And, Marv was the editor. Wow. Oh, and Bill Mantlo did it too. Oh, Bill's not doing it. No, I can't have Bill Mantlo sign it. But maybe I'd have Marv sign the inside too. Who knows? You never know. But, yep, that is my all-time favorite Raw book in my collection. So, hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed the bloopers. I'm going to launch this over a bunch of days. 3 Men in the Basement, sub up, like, subscribe to us. Make sure you do all those good things. Check out Rocket Comics. Check out Dave in the Cave. So this has been tough pulling these books out. Now I got to put them all back. And it's a pain in the ass. But at least they're in new Mylars. Kind of know where they're going to go. And it brings back a lot of my childhood about going to these cons and you know, picking up these books and just doing what it takes to be, you know, as a collector. So whether you collect raws, slabs, 0.5s, coverless books, it's what you collect. When I was a kid, I thought you had to buy everything. You don't. With statues and pops and this like that, I've just seen it evolve, and sketches. It's just been so much fun in the past 5 years. And yeah, so again, I'm Otto. Sub up to 3 Men in the Basement. Follow us on Lords of the Long Box also. Sub them up. I don't know where we'll be with our subs, but we've got a 1,500 subscriber giveaway coming up. Then we're going to do our 1,750, and 2,000 we're giving away something huge. So again, comment, like, and subscribe our videos. We're always dropping new content. CGC unboxing. We've got it all coming in. So on behalf of my brothers at Lords of the Long Box, TiVo, Darkside Jedi, Manimal, on behalf of all my brothers at 3 Men in the Basement, myself, Nemesis Prime, David Nicane, Roger Levesque, I am Otto. This has been my top 30 favorite Raw books in my collection, and I am out. Peace. Oh my God, I'm going to get dinged for this. Man, I just watched the anthology. It was so dope. Listen to this beat right here. Ready? All right, anyway, I'm done with that. Come on, turn off. Just like I'm done with this 3 Men in a Basement finale, top 30 Raw books. This is my top 10. This is the heavy hitters. And guys, let me tell you something. I'm sorry if you don't think number 1 is where it should be, but it's a personal grail, and I think a personal grail outweighs any type of, well, except if it's an AF-15 or like a Batman number 1. But I think personal grails outweigh any type of book that has financial value, because this book means a lot to me. And please listen to my stories. So you are officially watching the 10 down to 1 being the best, my favorite book in my Raw Dog collection. So stay tuned for our intro. Stay tuned for our... Oh, that was good! Do I get dinged for this? I hope not. Right, I'm going to get it off. Listen to this beat, though. It's so fat, man. This is so long ago, man. I just watched the anthology. I'll get it off before I get dinged. What is he eat a potty all the time? What's up, everybody? It's your boy Otto, coming live and direct from the grotto. This is the intro to my top 30 Raw books. This is going to be my top 10 segment. This is the finale. This is the karate chop. This is the end of this video. It was a lot of fun, you guys, but it was very, very tedious. So, so what? That was a good one. Oh, I love the Beastie Boys. The anthology was phenomenal. Listen to that beat. Wait, but you guys don't want to. You don't care about this, right? Let me get this off. You don't care about that. I hope I don't get dinged for that. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Otto, coming to you live and direct from the grotto. Man, I am so happy right now because you are about to watch the... What are they going to watch? How am I going to say it?